I still want to see the clockwork, man. Like, what is wrong with picking up this clockwork? You can get in onto the backlines. You can force out a disruption that isn't ideal. You can get onto the Lena super early so that she's not able to cast her spells and have a lot of impact. And even force her to go into something like a Hurricane Pike, into something a little bit more greedy where she's able to get farm. I still think
Vici
clock's a great
Gaming's turn to pick.
hero to pick up here. Maybe not now so much. Maybe not against the Phoenix.
Okay, so they get the pseudo counter in the Phoenix to at least turn it to daytime whenever you pop that supernova. They do not have
10
very good
seconds
team
remaining.
control around it. And like Mars always stands
5
out, but that's a
seconds
Mars into
remaining.
Night Stalker Void, and they both don't care about the arena. So then I'm thinking like a
RNG's
Tide
turn
route
to
or some like
pick.
big
Sven
crowd
stands
control.
ready.
Sven, okay, he's got some at least AoE stun.
Sure. I don't think, unless his positioning's quite bad on flyby, I don't think we're going to be seeing him dying too many times in the laning stage. Phoenix, you can put some harass out, but the damage ramp up is kind of slow,
10
so I think Night
seconds
Stalker should be
remaining.
just fine in this lane. What
5
else we got
seconds
here?
remaining.
Unless it's a Phoenix
Vici
4, you never know.
Gaming's
It could be the
turn to
Shadow
pick.
Demon in the lane as well. Saving their pos 4 till last. Felix Chauba getting the luxury.
I like the live stealer pick up into the Sven. I think late game, of course, this hero on Vici Gaming will out DPS the
10
live stealer,
seconds
but
remaining.
your item progression feels very nice compared to the Svens in the regards
5
to where you go
seconds
like
remaining.
armlet and then an early halberd, which is a great way to mitigate a lot of the Sven's damage. This is a hero that never wants to build MKB, so he has to go up against the evasion on the lifestealer, and then you have this built-in active, of course, with the disarm as well. And not only that, it kills off the Phoenix Supernova, which is something that we're lacking currently on RNG.
You know what I really want to see actually from RNG? I want to see a Snapfire come
RNG's
out.
turn
It's
to
not
ban.
just for the
Vici
Phoenix
Gaming's
potential,
turn
but
to
you just have a
ban.
look at the style of heroes that they've got. You know, Night Stalker, Void Spirit, Lifestealer, they all want to be on the front lines. Lifestealer's probably going to be an Infest Bomb as part of a Void Spirit, or hell, you don't know, might even save it just to be able to get a heal off in the middle of a fight in addition to the Omni Knight. So you could just sit on the back lines and fire out your Mortimer's
10
Kisses for
seconds
a
remaining.
big part of the fight. When the supernova's popped, you walk on forward, you use your little
5
shredder,
seconds
and
remaining.
you know it's even pretty versatile in the lane, just getting an extra stun. You can end up putting a
RNG's
lot of
turn
pressure
to
in
ban.
onto
Vici
Vici Gaming's laning
Gaming's
setup.
turn to pick.
We'll see what they want to opt here for Old 11. Again, I really want some form of crowd control enableability to help out with that Supernova. Tide, Slider, both banned out. I think the Slider matchup's probably the big reason why they got rid of it against the Life
10
Sealer, and
seconds
then again the
remaining.
Tide for the Supernova pairing. So is there anything left that's kind of standing out here for Old
5
11 from what
seconds
he's been playing?
remaining.
Oh, they couldn't offlane Puck, could they? I mean, it's going to be rough against a Night Stalker.
Yeah.
You do basically nothing against a Life Stealer, but I mean, yeah, you're completely right though. They're lacking everything to stop a Phoenix Supernova from having a huge amount of impact.
RNG's turn to pick.
DK.
It's something, but it just feels like you're so passive right now on Vici, right? Like you don't have a roaming lineup. You just want to be able to group around this DK, have the Phoenix sitting behind him, using the Sunray to help push forward. Lena's going to be there to go for
10
aggressive
seconds remaining.
pickoffs onto anyone that moves forward. Shadow Demon for the save potential, and Sven's going to be
5
farming away in the
seconds
triangle
remaining.
once the laning stage dissolves a little bit. So it's just going to depend. Like RNG, they're going to be hoping to try and get into that stage a minute or so before Vici Gaming are ready, and they're going to be looking to punish when that Elder Dragon form is off cooldown. Sorry, on cooldown, so that you can be the ones on the front foot. I still want to see the snap. I think it's good. You got a good amount of magic damage to be able to get through the Dragon's Blood, and even some minus armor, right? Which can assist with Roshan, can assist with taking towers. You're probably going to build into a Desolator on the Lifestealer, perhaps. So why not?
Is there anything in regards to that you really want to see them check off from the boxes that they don't have right now that maybe Snap doesn't?
Not really. I mean, it does everything that I could possibly want, right? It gives them an extra stun, gives them range damage, it gives them a way to deal with the Shadow Demon from afar, which, you know, they were lacking a little bit. The Night Stalker can do a pretty good job, but they've got decent turnaround potential.
Choose your hero.
It's okay, but you're very heavily clumped in. I mean, Can you imagine if this was like a Darkseer and you were able to get a Vac Wall LSA Sven stun combo on instead of a Dragon Knight? Yeah, you would have no tower taking, sure, but their team fight would be amazing. But they're very melee centric right now on RNG. So if they get clumped up in the wrong space, like this is one of those games where a Sven, depending on positioning, can pop off. So RNG, they're going to have to need to be really disciplined with how they go about it. I'm still going to favor them though.
Was this feature RNG, sir?
RNG.
RNG. So still with this Undying last pick, you feel like it's what'd you change your background to?
Well, I changed it to the wrong RNG one. There
we go. So you
Much
feeling the boys? You got the little bingo out. The
random
balls
number generator.
They've landed
That's
on
what I
them.
like.
Very good, very good. What is okay? Let's talk about then the reasons why you have not sided with Vici Gaming. Like, what are some of the big issues that you see with their draft that makes you lean the opposite direction?
Too slow, very predictable map movements, and no way to really get onto the Omni Knight to harass him properly. I feel like Omni Knight is going to have a lot easier game than a lot of the ones that we've seen so far. You know, you compare it to the likes of having the Diffusal Blade Blink Dagger on the Ursa. We've seen Storm Spirits get onto the backline and deal with him. We've seen Night Stalkers get onto the backline and deal with him. And Void Spirit, like, they're all on RNG's team already. They've picked up a lot of the counters to the Omni Knight in pretty quick succession. So as long as Red Panda's positioning is good, he should be having just a fine time.
I think for this game, I'm going to keep tabs on how Vici Gaming can play the first, like the 15 to 20 minute fights. I think if they can get out of dodge in that regard, then their late game, I'd start to favor, because RNG are very... You have to commit into a fight with 5 melee heroes, and Vici don't have the easiest way to sit up until like a blink on DK, so that's naturally going to mean their first 10 minutes, even adding a little bit extra minutes on that, let's say like the first 13 is going to be pretty slow, where their playmaking potentials aren't as great with a Phoenix and Shadow Demon support duo. So I feel like Vici are all on the backs of RNG heavily committing too far into a fight and then turning with their stuns and turning with their ultimates from there.
I mean, I think we could, like, they don't have an amazing way to use the Supernova right now, so I feel like they might opt to use it as bait, because again, the stun setup is pretty significant. Sun Ray is going to be an amazing spell this game, just because of all of the melee that you're going into. But I don't feel like Flyby is just going to be joining the rest of the team in running in as a straight line. He's going to be looping around the back, trying to find that Phoenix and making sure he gets the Crippling Fear off, or hell, even just the Void with the mini stun to be able to disrupt the effectiveness of that Sun Ray.
Now, we've also seen some incredible performances on the Shadow Demon so far through the group stages. Do you feel like RNG have the easiest way to get on top of PYW as this game continues?
I mean, Void Spirit can and Night Stalker can, but there are multiple things that they have to deal with. That's probably a small area of concern, that they need to get both the Phoenix and the Shadow Demon. They can't make the same errors that so many other teams have made, where they're just like, oh, look, a hero, a Dragon Knight, let's hit him. No, he's got a lot of survivability, and if you just leave the Phoenix and the Undying on their own, then he's basically unkillable. So a lot of RNG success is, are they going to be able to get it onto the backlines? Do they have the capability for that? It was kind of another reason why I was hoping that they went for a Snapfire in that position 4 role, because in the POS 4, you're able to get a little bit more farm. You might be able to afford a Aghanim Scepter, and then you can just launch the Lifestealer onto the backlines and deal with him in that way.
The nice thing I can see, at least, about the Undying getting picked up is how he'll heavily secure a flyby lane. I mean, this is a double strength, and Felix is just going to continuously spam out the decay. So at least that... And the biggest weakness for the Night Stalker does feel like his first 5 minutes. So if you can secure that for him, get him into the first nighttime, then we've seen what Night Stalkers can do from there. And then taking a look at bottom, it's a lifestealer Omni Knight lane. Like, this is a ridiculous amount of sustain versus Dragon Knight, who kind of just... He also just kind of sustains the lane and gets a little bit of CS and allows the other carry to get a little bit of CS, and they really just trade farm back and forth. So already those two side lanes for RNG look like they're gonna go pretty well. They're gonna get their farm. The question is though, mid, like we have continuously seen that Lina has had a pretty good matchup versus Void Spirit so far. D-Stones, he's starting well.
He is starting well. We've had Felix Chava be able to get a pull off, but it was at the expense of giving up that small camp, so didn't actually block it. But still, both him and DY are going to be able to get a decent amount of farm. Still level 1 though on DY. Has to be a little careful here with Flyby making the rotation through with the Void. It'll get them the kill.
He's going to give up first blood. It's just a question of who's able to find it. The decays are slowly starting to wear off, but Felix still has enough damage in the tank, picking up first blood. Hey, guess what? Let's just continue trying to have an incredible start. We'll even make a stack to help enable our D-Stone's Void
Mid
Spirit.
lane's a little low.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
This is the hero that they picked in both of those games where they were able to take that victory off of Astra as well. Let's keep that in mind. So, looking pretty good.
Great start for him so far, but top. That's I cannot harp enough. Like Night Stalker is very similar to the Timber. I guess it just not too similar. Just the one similarity that I can kind of harp on is the fact that your early levels, like you really need to get him that advantage and get him through this first 5 minutes, and then once he gets to that stage, you really start to see the impact flow through it, and that's where a lot of the counters to these heroes are heavily rely on the laning stage.
I feel like Felix did a really good job as well. When he made that pull happen, he didn't just sit back and happily trade and was like, oh, okay, well, I can get some experience, he can get some experience, that's all right. He didn't even go for the last hits. He realized it was important to bully the Phoenix away from the lane as much as possible so that he wasn't able to just freely take those last hits. He wanted to get the denies off, he wanted to maximize the effectiveness of his decay, and that enabled them to get that first blood because DY didn't quite hit up onto that level 2 for the Icarus dive.
Meanwhile, though, down bottom, God King, 14 last hits compared to the 15 on Old 11, who does have a little bit more denies over than his lifesteal laning matchup. And unfortunately for God King, the creepy Cleaver isn't in the greatest spot, but I guess they don't really have a way to really find any kills on RNG, so not that they're too worried about the position of the wave.
Yeah, they're not caring all that much. D-Stone's still having a pretty decent time in this mid lane. It's actually Ori that's sitting last on the Lena's net worth, so I haven't been watching that mid lane all that much because of all this action happening top, but he must have been able to dodge a fair few of Ori's spells.
Does feel like, though, this is going to be quite the passive game as we continue forward for the first 7 minutes or so, because either team, like, you take a look at their supports, they don't make any plays at all. Like, we are really relying on the level 6s, more importantly from the mid laners to come through. D-Stones with that astral step could potentially make a rotation to the side lanes. Lina with the Laguna Blade as well could maybe get a nice solo kill off, but apart from that, it's really off the back of the level 6s, and until then it should be a pretty passive laning stage.
Yeah, it's all going to be around the Dragon Knight and the Night Stalker for mine, not even just the mid lane, right? Like, as soon as you can have that extended nighttime, you're going to be going for kills here on Flyby, who, with that phase boost, it's going to be so much easier. And then, of course, the tower taking potential coming from Old 11 is something that you need to be mindful of.
I think at least it's a shining spot right now for Vici that Old 11 is having a very good laning stage, and it's to be expected. Of course, you're not going to harass out the Dragon Knight with the two heroes that they had RNG combine up with, but this now means that their first big way to get into this game is going to be off the back of the blink. So with how much farm the Dragon Knight's getting, you should get that at a relatively decent timing.
And PYW, he's coming down here. Honestly, like, God King, he's sitting underneath the tower. He's being a little bit annoying, but I'd be totally happy to let Old 11 just soak all of this experience solo.
Just go back to making stacks. Go back to helping the team, PYW. What are you doing down here? That's what Old 11's saying. Like, come on, brother. I need everything you can give me.
He's done his job, though. Still having a decent time.
Their job's coming through. Ori still doesn't have the level 6, and with the damage freshly picked up, thanks to D-Stone's advantage in the ultimate, they're able to bring him down. They even dropped the tombstone, but that is combined with a catapult wave, so now the zombies can tank up the tower a little bit, and this is just a classic China rotation. Again, we see this so often. If you have the level 6 advantage on your mid laner, you really want to get usage out of it as the supports combine up with D-Stones.
And of course, the regen rune doesn't hurt things either. Sure, why? How does that work with the tower? Were you watching that happening in mid lane? It would like it hit the siege creep twice, then changed to the tombstone, even though no zombies were formed, and then went back to the guard.
Yeah, there's some wonky things with tower aggro and like structures and like the Venom wards as well. Very interesting. But that does show at least, you know, the level 6s. That's what we're all keeping our eyes out for. D-Stone's the first to really hit home. And this has been a... I don't know how to...
on the top side, he's in a little bit of trouble here. He's got the 2 points in the Stormhammer. If they keep diving underneath the tower, he'll look to use it. But well, they'll have to back off for now. But Felix Chauba doing a good job as well. Just making sure to bully him out of the lane as much as possible, considering he has had a good start. And look at all these stacks that they've been able to pick up. The Vici Gaming supports, they've been probably the pair of MVPs so far for this tournament for mine.
They always are super stable on Vici. Like DY, PYW, are just one of the most consistent support duos. They'll do everything you ask from them, anything to give them that just winning edge here. And with the Sven lineup, you want to funnel so many stacks into him as mid lane. Even the lifesteal is showing up with the Seder Tormentor, and Ori once again is gonna get chased down. So this is what I wanted to say before. Like this mid matchup, like I have to re-look at this lane, because on paper I feel like Lina previously should be beating a Void Spirit, but we've really seen a couple times that Void is surprisingly actually done better. So like this is a matchup that I need to revisit and see what's going on, because it looks like, at least with the priority they're putting on, as soon as D-Stones hits the ultimates, the one weakness of Lina is that you're not survivable, and when anyone gets on top of you, you're able to punish her with ease because of how squishy she is, and that's a beautiful thing that the Void Spirit has that in the toolkit once he hits 6. So as long as RNG can kind of enable that with their supports.
And she's come to the bot side. She's tired of going mid and dying. She wants to back up old 11 here as he's doing a little bit of a push in onto the tower. 3 DCs coming out from Vici Gaming. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we were expecting, right? I like the fact that she changed up her items a little bit. It's going to slow down the boots of travel, but having the infused raindrops helps in lane a little bit, but it's kind of exactly what I was talking about, right? The boots, null talismans, magic wand gives you barely any stats. Your strength gain isn't that great, and you're not going to get any more items that help with your HP for quite a while. You know, it might be forced into going into the BKB straight after the boots of travel, just so that you can at least get that 200 HP coming from the Ograx component. PYW, they're clearly putting a whole lot more emphasis in onto creating a good start for Sven, considering his lane went well. So he's been busy stacking up.
Again, just out of dodge, but looks like old 11's now the target. I love this smoke from RNG, looking to minimize the Dragon Knight's first use of the Elder Dragon form onto that tier 1 tower, and he recognizes he's a dead man. He's just gonna try and make as much space and waste as much time as possible before he does die.
He barely tickled that tower. In the meantime, Red Panda, he's been able to sit in the mid lane, get a good amount of experience for himself. D-Stones will just yoink it right on back, but he's sitting pretty happy on this Omni Knight.
Kind of looks like the one shining spot is Poyoyo's farm. He's got top of the net worth. Has he still got this Ancients? Oh my lord, he does. Okay, so RNG have to keep tabs. They've got a ward to the northern side, which is a really cool placement of the ward. Often you're not going to get that deep on a Radiant support to get that Observe ward down before someone comes over. So it'll be not quite easy for Vici to de-ward, and this is the big objective, honestly. Like, the Vici Gaming, it's starting to... I mean, it's only 4 kills, but like D-Stones can really ramp up his early game aggression with pick-off after pick-off, and it's just showing right now as he's looking for another one top lane.
15 seconds left on that nighttime, and they're going to
instantly out. He's instantly out, but
no, he's not.
They have to cancel. D-Stones ran at the nick of time. They'll keep him in this tier 1 tower. Puyo is still looking to try and man fight, but you know the inevitable is coming, and without the God Strength, he doesn't have the damage in the tank.
I like the fact that he didn't pop the God Strength. He might have been able to, you know, maybe get one more kill, dissuade them away. The risk was way too high, though. They've still got both towers on the bottom side. As soon as he respawns, he's going to TP down there, realizing that you've got the safety of the daytime. That's the time that you need to be going and taking away this large ancient stack.
And this is now, I feel like, this Ancients could make or break the game in a way. Like, if you give that over, or at least RNG can contest it, like, Sven is a hero that needs to be like 1.5 items ahead, 2 items ahead. And if you let them contest that, and that's been a lot of your emphasis in the lanes has been enabling the Sven, which is kind of a reason why some of the side lanes didn't go as well as what they were hoping.
And he's actually going back top as well, just not wanting to leave this siege creep up here on its own, I suppose. But the thing I'm concerned about is that you're against an Undying. And if you get a pick off and you've got a few heroes in the region, sure, you don't have any great ancient taking heroes on RNG, but the Tombstone is really effective against it. It's already level 3, and you're going to be able to just plant it down and slowly take out this huge potential comeback tool for Sven. There we go. He cleared out the top wave. Now he's TPing down with the use of the God Strength to be able to take it. So smart movement there from Poyoyo.
Well, Radiant are going to see, but yeah, they're not nearby to really do anything. The pings do come out, but it looks like maybe Red Panda might soak some of the experience. He thinks otherwise.
Not going to be fast enough.
Well, that is the real big objective here for Vici Gaming to pick up. Another one is the fact that the Dragon Knight just completed the blink. I was highlighting that it's either the level 6s on the supports where they can make plays, or the blink dagger picked up very early from old 11 is when they're going to look to get aggressive, and looks like that should be combined with the first use of their ultimates.
D-Stones.
Catching D-Stones not going to be easy though. Like, where's the follow-up stun lock afterwards? LSA just shy. The help of the Heavenly Grace. Red Panda, great positioning. He might have even actually dispelled it off with the timing there.
Very clever.
Nonetheless, though,
that's the thing, yeah. They're able to continue the push forward into the tower as well.
Yep.
With old 11 there.
So want to take the fight though. Flyby, swing on the backline. They're going to try and target down Poyoyo instantly with a supernova, but RNG, they don't care about the egg. They try and find the Sven instead. A valuable target to kill off, but now once the egg reset, they're going to go back in. They still have this Dark Ascension for a long duration, so it's a lot of information for them. They'll target down the Phoenix. It hasn't costed anyone their life just yet, but finally, God King is still getting involved here to get a big kill there. It's the Void Spirit and the Night Stalker dropping.
And that was the weakness of the what's essentially like a 4-4 lineup right now. You can count Void Spirit as kind of a bit of each because you can deal a lot from a decent amount of range, but 3 different heroes hit by that Sven stun enabled that supernova to allow the disengage coming through from RNG. This tower should probably not be going down.
He's got the Infest. Someone needs to get in range so he can use his God King just in the nick of time. But now Poyoyo popping the God Strength. They're going to look to try and chase down Felix. Now they can turn with a great play to banish from PYW. Offers no escape to God King's Lifestealer.
Yeah, just a few plays that probably shouldn't happen. They clumped up a little bit too close. Sure, it's around the mid lane where you don't have a ton of room to play with, but still, in the hectic chaos of a team fight, sometimes these sorts of things slip your mind. And yeah, that single Sven stun from Poyoyo ended up saving the day.
And what do you know? First blink timing and the level 6s from Vici Gaming. When they get active, they take an incredible tier 1 tower, and also off the back of some pickoffs from them. And Red Panda might be in trouble. Maybe this status resistance and extra strength is going to come into handy there. A little bit shy in the mana in regards to the Lina.
Doubling up a little bit here on the items with God King going into the Orb of Corrosion when Undying's already picked one up. Granted, it's not exactly a standard Undying item. Maybe the pos 4 leads him to think that it's a viable option for him.
Old 11, swing on over, catch out the Omni Knight this time. He'll be brought down instead of their last attempt there at the middle lane. I'm trying to keep tabs on when RNG want to find these halberds. In fact, Lifesteal is actually going to go Deso next item. So not the second item halberd to heavily mitigate the Sven damage early on.
I don't hate it. I mean, they want to be able to take objectives pretty quickly. Yeah. They're still lacking in that aspect, right? So you're going to need some kind of minus armor to assist with it. Undying really doesn't help either. He'll allow you to win the team fight and get the pickoffs that allow you to do it, but certainly in the form of the right click, the flesh golem, not effective against towers.
Second night time now. Big power spike here from RNG as they're smoked up, looking to utilize this advantage of the night. And D-Stones.
That's a big pickoff.
A catch onto the Phoenix. This should be their transition now into the tier 1 tower mid.
or even just walking on by behind the tower. They'll get a brief glimpse of Felix Chowbar, and that's going to be enough for them to back off.
Hold 11.
Careful with the courier. Good micro from Old 11. I think he's waiting for the blink dagger to get away. Look at his positioning.
Dire's structures
Pinpoint.
are fortified.
This RNG would trade this tier 1 tower. Vici just have to get out of dodge for the next 5 minutes. Like, if they can avoid this second nighttime hefty loss of heroes and also objectives, then they're going to feel very comfortable heading into the second 20-minute time of this game.
Taking this ancient stack, though, with the use of the tombstone, like I was talking about before, so I like that. Just grief in the Sven's farm a little bit. I've got the luxury of having that observer ward. I didn't spot the smoke, though. Right underneath the tier 2 tower, so who's the target that they're looking to go for? You would have to be the Omni Knight, right? If you could get him, burst him down before the spells come online, it's the key thing that they're looking out for. RNG, flyby.
Don't get caught.
Probably should just leave him.
Red Panda's gonna offer some assistance, even utilizing the ultimate as well. Unfortunately, there's no escape for Flyby as Laguna Blade's gonna cut him down, and Poyoyo, meanwhile, will rip apart Red Panda 2 with the big old sword there.
Good spell usage again coming out from PYW. He made sure, like, the Night Stalker was a dead man walking. They had him caught out. He doesn't have the, at the time, he didn't have the Dark Ascension available. And so they were able to just use the Guardian Angel, not exactly to full effect, right? They could still chase him down with the magic damage, and he ended up using the Demonic Purge onto the Omni instead, because he could have potentially TP'd away without that. But dispelling the Guardian Angel on the full HP target enables them to get 2 kills for the price of 1.
Now, are we looking at any item timings picked up in the next minute or so to really sway this game into either team's favor?
Desolator's going to be nice. They're going to have to... I mean, they're still looking for a way to get in onto the backlines. Flyby 700 gold away from that Blink Dagger. They might be able to catch out DY here. That Observer Ward definitely allowing him to breathe a sigh of relief as he backs straight on out of the jungle. But yeah, this team fight is going to turn around massively if you have the potential to catch out DY and PYW. It's not just their individual skill, but just what the heroes do innately. The Shadow Demon and the Phoenix are so core to what Vici are trying to do in every single one of these team fights.
Vici Gaming, they'll sniff out Roshan thanks to the scan. Let's see if they can get nearby though. It's not falling the fastest, but now with Flyby's Dark Ascension, it's got that extra damage. They're coming in the vicinity. How do you start the fight though on Vici? They're a little bit too late, but still. Do they want to stick it around for the 5-on-5? Supernova drop towards the southern side of the team fight. Goking's going to try and prioritize it down, but they're able to protect it. They'll deal with the Aegis. DY Supernova pops as well. Now with round 2, the LSA perfect timing from Ori. They'll kill off God King. Is the extra catch there for Flyby? Doesn't look like it is.
I gotta say though, D-Stones, he was just standing around, not doing all that much throughout all of it. Did pop the double damage when they were taking Roche, so it took a little bit longer than normal. It meant that their path for retreat was gone, and then just stood off to the right, not even using his Yule Scepter to be able to prevent some of the deaths onto his team. So he could have potentially done a lot better to be able to save his team. You know, a Yule Scepter into an Aether Remnant on the Shadow Demon, for example, means that you don't get that chain lockdown in onto the Lifestealer and he gets away.
It's kind of cool as well how they've drafted in regards to often BKB like items or abilities are a great way to heavily counter the Supernova. That's why we often see the Lifesteal or the Juggernaut. But the big issues with that is they're then heroes that heavily rely on not taking mass amounts of physical damage, and that's what the Sven dishes out. So it's kind of cool that they've covered the Supernova with the Sven instead of some big crowd control ultimates like the Mars or the Tide Ravage, for examples.
Let's keep in mind, though, that they weren't able to get onto the Phoenix. Flyby didn't have his Blink Dagger at the time. Now he does. And you're just getting closer and closer to picking up that Aghanim Scepter on D-Stones as well. So he can feel a lot more confident in going in. They're going to patch up Poyoyo here.
He's got BKB. It's just going to pop in and instantly TP out. I thought they might try and take the fight, but with Tombstone dropped, they felt like this area was firmly in control of RNG.
They'll take the tower instead. I mean, RNG, they're happy enough to waste a BKB charge, considering how important it is for that the Void Spirit to be able to just get in on top of him and deal a bunch of damage with the Resonant Pulse, lock him down, get the Your Scepter in onto him, and suddenly a lot of Vici Gaming's damage output is reduced.
All in all, though, Vici again have dodged another nighttime where I feel like RNG, that's where they really needed to put a stamp on this game. Yeah, unfortunately for them, the Aghanims on D-Stones is a little bit away from that timing they were looking for, and now this has enabled Vici to continue to accumulate a net worth lead as they're looking to jump on D-Stones. Follow-up control is there with the LSA. He's got a little bit of extra protection in that last second use of the Resonant Pulse, but it is not enough as the right-click damage will fly even after for the Astral Step.
Top tower has fallen.
He didn't yours and he didn't assimilate, though. I felt like he could have potentially jaunted the last one as it was flying at him,
Radiant's
but
top tower is under attack.
the Lina, the right-click damage coming in thick and fast with that Fiery Soul, of course, and he was sitting a little bit low, so having that extra attack speed and the extra damage coming through from the Brigand's Blade helped Ori to clean up the kill. Now, it's not a core, but at least Felix Chowbar has the essence of the core Undying. Going for the Echo Saber, which I believe he has finished up. Did his career die or something? I'm sure it was coming out to him at one point.
No, he's got no Echo, brother. You hallucinating. That's all right.
No, I am positive. I saw
that's all right.
the Oblivion staff coming out to him. Oh, okay, he switched it up to the Ag Shard. He got the Ag Shard instead. All right. Only just now putting a point into the Soul Rip as well. So you do have a little bit of extra save now, which is going to be nice. Chasing in onto Ori.
Can he not just BKB TP out? In fact, well, unfortunately for that, the TP's on cooldown. RNG, they have to get out of dodge. Felix with TP and God King will too. Another thing...
There's that Desolator. They have the Ags. They have...
Okay.
Not the Nighttime, but Dark Ascension is available. And still the Blink Dagger on the Nightstalker. We haven't had maximum value out of it. The big issue for Felix Chowbar is he used everything to try and bait out that BKB usage. But it does mean that Vici Gaming needs to be taking this next team fight a little bit more carefully. He's at least going to get full health, full mana before attempting to take this tier 2. I'm not sure RNG want to give this one up, though. They've lost all of their other external towers. There's no Aegis on Vici Gaming's side, but it looks like they're just letting it go.
Okay. Well, it's another 2 minutes until nighttime.
Really valuing that BKB on Flyby, it seems.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
It's a question of, like, who do you jump now on RNG, though? I think there's so much emphasis on killing off Shadow Demon, Lina, and Phoenix. So where do you feel like the priority has to be?
It still has to be the Shadow Demon, the Phoenix. Like, the Lina can wait. She still dishes out so much damage, but the other two prevent you from dishing out a lot of damage.
They cancelled the Night Stalker's TP. The rest of the team, they've already escaped the area. So that's just continuing to delay the BKB that RNG are waiting for.
Yeah, so you lost a tower, you didn't get anything in exchange, and the thing that you're waiting for is just going to be even longer to come. It's definitely not how I foresaw them taking this game. Just being a little bit too passive. You know, I said Vici's draft was a little slow, but somehow RNG are playing it even slower.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Screw slow, let's walk up the high ground.
Why not? No glyph.
Poyoyo really wants this level 18 before he utilizes God Strength. So close to it. Just needs his neck. Oh, well, screw it. Let's just pop it. Let's take the objective. No messing around here from Poyoyo. In fact, no messing around and just kill off the Undying. We have that opportunity. Let's go for it. We'll double back. Get with the melee racks here.
Starting to come, though.
Spawning out as Dire. They haven't dealt with the Tombstone. They've dealt with the Undying, though. Again, he's got a buyback. Can look to reach on the fight, but now God King targeted down. The physical damage from Poyoyo is too much to handle, and now they can turn to deal with the Night Stalker as well. The Supernova just covering that attempt as RNG. They can't get in the vicinity to protect the Night Stalker, and now D-Stone's moving the next target. In fact, they've had enough. Vici Gaming, 25 minutes in, taking game 1.
The execution just wasn't there. Like, PYW didn't die once. And that is a big issue, you know, for them to be able to turn around all of these team fights, just constantly getting caught off on their own, not protecting towers when they actually had somewhat of an advantage, and it just never seemed like it was a full 5-on-5 team fight coming. There were always 1 or 2 men down because they were just wanting that next little extra item. But, I mean, I think if you're going in onto the backlines as a Night Stalker when a team fight's begun and you hit the Shadow Demon with the Crippling Fear, there's nothing that he can do to save himself. Like, Alina can't turn around. The Dragon Knight's going to be well away, and the Sven, he needs to be on the front lines as well. So I think it was just coming down entirely to execution that time around, and RNG for mine have really let one slip.
Without a doubt, the execution base though, like from Vici, with how they're able to play these fights and making sure they all rallied around and made it so difficult for RNG to find those key pickoffs. Like there were really valuable components on the Vici Gaming lineup that were squishy and that potentially could have been bursted down from 4-0, and then RNG could have turned that into a secondary kill and then a team fight victory off the back of that. But unfortunately for them, it just looked like Vici Gaming with still, they didn't have the greatest ways to protect the Supernova, at least big ultimates wise, but the good old right clicks from Sven's enough, and the Lena got to a stage where her damage was continuing to ramp up. And again, you also, like, one thing I want to harp on, you brought it up in that game, is that Vici Gaming support duo continue just to be incredibly consistent. Like what DY and PYW did, it's just stellar.
I mean,
like
just have a look at the scoreboard. Compare, like, look at what DY did compared to God King and Flyby that game. He did more damage. He did 5,000 healing. He placed 14 sentry wards. He had 3 stacks happening for his team. Like, he did everything. He did everything that you could possibly want. And there was that dilemma of, look, you might be able to kill him, but it's going to cost you a lot. And every single time they had an advantageous trade, PYW not dying once, and he, I believe, got 5 stacks off for his team as well. So it was just a great overall performance. D-Stones, I thought, was a little bit passive at a number of team fights. They never fought around together, and I feel like this Undying to make it a 5 melee lineup into a Sven and a Phoenix was a little bit of an error. I think a Snapfire could have rounded out the draft entirely, and I hope this doesn't turn people off the Undying as a bit of more greedy hero for their drafts, because I think it can work. It was almost starting to a few times, but they just never had the full complement of heroes to make it happen.
Vici Gaming 1 game away now from their retribution after they did drop yesterday's series versus Team Asta. Sorry, Asta Ares, I should say. And then for the boys on RNG, they're really looking to continue with that momentum. I mean, they took down the top dog, which was Team Asta, and that was a really convincing series victory at that, which was a 2-0. So they've still got some fight left in them. They're not going to go down a 2-0 victory with ease. They're going to do their best to force this game 3. But the question is the momentum enough for Vici Gaming to take it? Or RNG, can they slow down Vici's lineup and then take this third game? Well, we'll find out. So we'll come back after a break.